Welcome back to part 2, unit 2, my dear students. This is Mr. Ahmed Sayad, and part 2 is lesson 2, the grammar section. We are going to talk about countable and uncountable nouns using comparative and superlative with the countable and uncountable. For the countable nouns, we use how many. For the countable nouns, we use how many. And we use few, fewer, the fewest. With the uncountable nouns, we use little. For example, if you want to ask how much tea do you have? If you have little tea, I say I have little tea. I have little tea. Okay, we use less for the comparative and the least for the superlative. Let's have some examples. For example, for the countable nouns, how many books do you have? How many books do you have? If you have few books, we say I have few books. I have few books. Okay, if there is a comparative between you and someone else, I say I have fewer books than Ali. I have fewer books than Ali. If you have the fewest books, you say I have the fewest books. I have the fewest books. And to know, you have to know that few equal not many. Few equal not many. This is the countable nouns. The uncountable nouns, if you want to ask, I ask how much tea do you have? How much tea do you have? If you have little, I say I have little tea. I have little tea. If there is a comparative or comparison between you and someone else, you say I have less tea than Ahmed. I have less tea than Ahmed. If it's a superlative, you say I have the least tea. I have the least tea. Okay. Countable nouns are the nouns that you can count it, and it's singular. If it's singular, you use a and an before it. A book, a chair, a boy. And if it's plural, we say books, boys, chairs. And there are also irregular countable nouns. For example, child. Child is a singular. We say a child, a child. If it's plural, we say children, man, men, woman, women. Okay? We have done with the grammar, so let's start with the questions. Complete the sentences. The sentences with these words from the article: few, fewer, fewest, less, little, least. There are lots of historical stories in this library, but there are few because stories is countable now. People have less interest in historical stories. It's a kind of hidden comparative. So we used less, not little here. I have little time. I have little time to read this year because I have more schoolwork. Number 4, I want a book with here fewer because we have pages is a countable noun, and there is then, it means it's a comparative. Okay, so we say fewer pages than a detective story. Number 5, this book has the fewest number of pages, it's a countable noun, and will take you the least amount of time is uncountable, to read. Okay, question number 2, complete these sentences with the correct form of few or little. There are fewer than 20 people is countable. Okay, and there is then fewer, so it's a comparative. Fewer than 20 people on the bus today. Number 2, the fewest number of tourists visit the museum early in the morning, and we can say also least. Number 3, students often have less sleep during school time than during the holidays. Number 4, the Antarctic is the place in the world that has the least rain. Least rain. Rain is uncountable. Number 5, few people is countable, few people think that English isn't a useful language. Question number 3, ask and answer. We can answer one or two as example. What is the least time you have spent waiting for a bus? We can say I waited for 30 minutes for the bus yesterday. Number 2, which has fewer legs, a horse or a spider? We can say a horse has fewer legs than a spider. Number 3, which day of the week do you think has the fewest number of cars on the road and why? I think Friday. Friday is a day that has the fewest number of cars because it's a holiday. Number 4, on Mondays, do you spend less time at home or at school? On Mondays, I spend less time at school. When is the driest time of the year in Egypt? I think it's in summer. Okay, we have done with part 2, unit 2.